You know, sometimes I think that I was meant to be born in the 40s. A big band kicks in and it's like, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. So dream. Dream when you're feeling great and everything's working the way you have planned your life to be and the hero's journey is unfolding exactly the way you think it should. Dream. Dream when the world is falling apart and nothing is working. Dream. Keep the vision alive. Dream when the people in your life are showing up exactly the way you think they should show up. And dream when they're showing up exactly the way you think they should not show up. Because heroes never stop the vision. They have a call in their heart. There is a vision placed upon their soul that must be manifested, that must be created, that must come to fruition. And we don't quit when it gets difficult. On the hero's journey, it's one foot in front of the other. We're all walking our way home. And what's beautiful about community is we're walking each other home. I believe it was Rumi who said that. We're all just walking each other home, and we're dreaming together. And we're holding fast to a vision. And there's a new vision for Unity North about to be unveiled. I hope you'll be here at the annual meeting, because we're going to the next level. And the way to manifest a dream is to not quit when it gets dark, to not quit when you're in the middle of the cave, but to dream, and to dream big. We are a collection of heroes, all of us together, a collection of heroes who are dreaming of a world so profoundly beautiful and magnificent and powerful that the idea of oneness that we espouse in mind is being made manifest in the physical realm. We are a community that come together, and when you come together here, it's not just for, a nice song. It's coming together to join your energy with the energy of the people around you to manifest the reality of oneness, of unity that we talk about, to show it, to demonstrate it, to live it, to breathe it, to express it, and then to experience it. A place where your experience and your belief, your face, your particular way of being is no longer antithetical to mine in any shape or form, but is an essential. I recognize you, you recognize me, and we recognize everybody as an essential component of a greater reality that neither of us has yet seen. We've tasted it. We've tasted it in mind. We've tasted it in heart. And we're coming together to make it manifest. So yes, keep dreaming of the time when a deep recognition emerges that all of us here in this room and all of us outside this room recognize that regardless of our varied thoughts, our belief systems, our faces, that each one of us is a necessary piece of a magnificent puzzle that we call God's existence. You are a cell within the magnificent expression of God here on earth. Your role must be played, and it must be played to the fullest. You see, we're in the Lenten season, and we're heading into Easter. And here at Unity North, one of the reasons I'm here is we don't just talk about Christ Jesus or Jesus the Christ, but we recognize that each and every one of you is the Christ. That the God is expressing, particularized at the point of each heart, of each soul, of each person. And our job is to recognize it, to follow the Master Teacher through this whole Easter experience. Now, I know I'm aware right now that I'm getting ready to talk about Jesus, and I'm going to talk about Easter, and some of the wounds are coming up already. Get over it. And we're not talking about Jesus the man today. We're talking about a Christ essence, a Christ light, a Christ being, a holy, sacred spirit that is expressing at the point of you that must be an expression or a piece of the whole puzzle dies along with it. Thomas Merton is one of my heroes. I want you to read this with me. This is the way Thomas Merton puts it. Together, then it was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty and depths of their hearts, the core of their beauty, the person that each one is in God's eyes. If only we could see each other that way all the time, there would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. I suppose then that the big problem would be that we would fall down and worship each other. Wouldn't that be a magnificent problem to have? To quit worrying about which religion has the right worship experience down the best. Wouldn't it be great to no longer worry about which guru was the right one, which prophet was the right one, which Messiah or Savior that somebody else worshiped was the right one, and to realize that the light that we seek is already here and now, and it's in every single one of us. So today I fall down. I fall down on my knees. Go ahead, I take it. So today I fall down on my knees. I bow down to the light that you are, to the piece of my puzzle that you are, to the magnificent expression of God that looks like you and has your face, that has your life, that has your particular way of understanding, being, and knowing. Now, there were these two guys. And these two guys knew each other for their whole life, and for 50 years these two guys were debating and fighting and arguing about the face of Jesus. Thank you, Peter Breeze, for this joke. One of them said, Jesus was white. The other one said, Jesus is black. Neither one of them really knew. They argued and they fought, and as fate would have it, they both died on the same exact day. They met each other in heaven, and both were rushing to St. Peter at the pearly gates to get the answer to their debate that had been 50 years in the making. We have to know, is Jesus black or is Jesus white? And before Peter could get the words out of his mouth, Jesus came up upon the scene, walked upon all three of them, and greeted them. Buenos dias. Over the Advent holiday, a very good friend and a member of this congregation, Winifred White, she's sitting right over there. Get to know that lady. She is a delightful human being, but she came to me. Wave your hand, Winifred, so we know who you are. Winifred makes me laugh. She makes me laugh. She makes me think. And guess what? We had a dialogue at Advent when she came to me and she said, why is it that all the pictures we're putting up, all the works of art throughout history, put a white face on Mary? Why is it that Jesus all has a white face in all the pictures? And we laughed and we giggled about it. It was fun to play in that area. And then we inevitably noticed, which my wife appreciated, that all the angels have blonde hair. Susie, my wife Susie, was so angry that she never could play the angel in the pageant. She always had to be a shepherd because she's a brunette. You know, and that was fun to play in that. Historically, we understand. And we know that that's an inaccuracy. They had dark or olive-colored skin, much closer probably to the tone of Winifred's skin than mine. But then Winifred began the dialogue from the fun, playfulness, to a place of profundity, a place of beauty. And the dialogue went to a different place. And she explained that her concern was less about the black Jesus that she knew, that she grew up with, less about the historical and artistic inaccuracy, and much more about the recognition and the importance of the teaching that was behind the face. The teaching, the divine idea, the divine essence that was beyond whatever color that face happened to have. And so Winifred and I, we danced. We danced in the vision of a faceless Jesus. Now, that's kind of creepy, huh? But what a beautiful dialogue emerged both at Advent and this week as I prepared for today's talk. It allowed us both to have access to a greater treasure within both of our faces. And a recognition that went beyond the color of Winifred's face and the color of my face and the color of Jesus' face to a magnificent treasure. And I asked Winifred, what is that treasure? The fun, joyous, silly lady got very profound. This is what I heard through my lens. Christ is about much more than a particular man. Christ is about much more than a particular face, a particular culture, or a particular teaching. We understand that Jesus was not a Christian, right? He was a Jew. It's a feeling. Christ is a feeling and an energy, a vibration, and a call to meet ourselves and others at a higher frequency. I'm inviting this congregation as we step through Lent and through Easter and Maundy, Thursday and Good Friday and communion that we do on Holy Week and Easter to put a new face on this experience, to put a new reality. Let me read that again. It's a feeling, it's an energy, it's a vibration, and a call to meet ourselves and everybody else at a higher frequency. It's about non-judgment. it is about compassion, and it is about becoming the very best version of ourselves possible. In essence, what Winifred was saying is that face of the man Jesus and the essence that he was aware of, that we are called to be aware of, is to see ourselves as God sees us. To see ourselves as the light of the world. To see ourselves as a magnificence, not broken, not stained, not in need of fixing, but the magnificent expression of God particularized as us. That dialogue was exactly what we're about here at Unity North. It reminded me of our mission statement. Let's put that up there. Many of you don't even know what this mission statement is, but we're going to review it today. Let's say it together. To recognize, demonstrate, and share the divinity of in each of us. I like to say of each of us, but the board of directors won on that one. Our job as spiritual seekers on this path, whether it be at Lent, whether it be at Advent, whether it be at your work or your home life, is to recognize first and foremost there's more to me going on than what's out here. There's more to me going on than the physicality of my life, than what I have or what I do or what I have experienced. I recognize there's a light working here. There's something at a deeper. Advent and Lent are about discovering that higher vibration, that higher frequency, to look beyond the face that I see in the mirror and to behold something greater. But we don't stop there in Unity. I love in Unity that we are called, our fifth principle, to get your butt off the couch and do something. If you are the light of the world, what are you doing to prove it? To demonstrate it, to get busy. To be the light of the world that you know yourself to be. But we don't stop there. And this is my favorite part of this, is to share that divinity. Go share it with others. But sharing means reminding those around you, you are also the light of the world. We follow the example of our master teacher when we do that. You are holy. When you go to the grocery store and you're standing opposite a clerk and they're behaving in a beautiful, wonderful way, serving you in a great way, I behold you as the light that you are. You don't have to say Christ. That'll probably freak them out. You can hold the Buddha nature. You can hold the Atman. You can hold the Christ. You can hold the light. Just remind them. You're wonderful. Thank you. Oh, and guess what? That exercise doesn't shift when they're behaving in a bad way. When their behavior doesn't match the reality of what you want it to be, I still behold the light that you are. You may do it through clenched teeth. You see, we cannot and will not make exceptions to where we find the face of God. If this mission statement and the whole Advent and Lenten season has any validity and holds any water at all, we cannot make exceptions to where we find the face of God. Look and look deeply. It doesn't matter about what face is in front. This year we are walking a hero's journey, and we've been going into the cave. What is the cave? The cave is the internal process. We are so externally motivated in this world. Everything's out here. The heroes walk into the cave. The cave is the mystical awareness of a greater reality that transcends all of this. And in the cave, we are going to face dragons. We're facing dragons. Dragons look like crucifixions. Feel the crucifixion. Experience crucifixion. Because on the hero's path, if I understand Joseph Campbell's, there must become a death. There must be a death to who you have been so that you can be reborn anew. Interesting. We're celebrating Jesus, and we're talking about being born anew. But we have to die first. In that cave, we're going after a treasure, which is a newfound reality, a new idea, a new thought that looks very much like resurrection. The awakening to the magnificence of our soul that perhaps at some place on our journey we forgot. We awaken and a resurrection happens. This year, I'm asking you to consider putting a whole new face on the Easter experience beyond your wounds, beyond the face that somebody told you were supposed to experience, beyond what somebody said, these scriptures, this is exactly what they mean. Easter and Lent and any spiritual experience must be just that, an experience. A first-hand experience and not a second-hand history. I'm asking you to transcend and to be the spiritual being you are. And that means having beginner's mind. The Buddhists would tell us we have to have beginner's mind. How many of you got up today with a new idea, a new way of looking at the world? That's our job as spiritual seekers. Every morning, there's new paradigms to reveal. There's new layers in this beautiful mansion of the kingdom of heaven on earth that are there to be found, to be discovered, and I need to be the one that discovers them. That means having a beginner's heart, a beginner's mind, and transcending what anybody told you Easter is all about, including what I tell you Easter is about. It must be personal. Michael's poem had such juicy, juicy lines in it, and I want to highlight a couple of them. He said this: "Do I produce what I create, or am I created by what I produce?" He's creating a magnificent circle of energy, a spiral. Does a revelation actually reveal, or am I revealed by the revelation? You see, we live in a circular energy, a pattern of energy that is forever expanding. A new thought, a new idea goes out, and a new life emerges, hopefully. A new notion, a new paradigm is placed upon the hero's heart that is beating in my chest. And the energy goes out, but then the energy comes back, and I must be a receptor as well as a giver. And as we exchange energies as Christ beings, there's a greater reality in this room. Not just with one voice speaking, but 300 voices speaking. And that exchange of energy elevates not only the people in the room, but it elevates the humanity as a whole. That's how important you are. That's how important this community is. We're changing the paradigms at a very deep cosmological level, a quantum level. There's change happening for humanity today. Lent is happening by right of how you are receiving this journey. And when we transcend external distractions, when we transcend faulty history, or scriptural inaccuracy, or artistic inaccuracy, we free ourselves to experience the story, the teaching, the man, and the Christ essence that the man talked about at a much more personal level. I'm asking you to take it personally. I'm asking you to take this whole walk through this season personally. And don't take anybody's notion for it. Put a new face on it. Give up the old notions. He says in his poem, "I must let go of myself. The hero must die. I must let go of who I have been, what I have been told is true. It's up to me how the colors come in." The painting that is this Lenten season can be brighter, more vibrant, more rich, and more beautiful than anything you've experienced. But whose responsibility is that? It's not mine. It's not the music team. It's not any of the prayers. It's your responsibility. Bring the colors in. Bring the fire in. Bring a new reality in such that the world will never be the same. You know, humanity has often allowed itself to think much too easily in terms of limitation, in terms of boundaries and restrictions. The human ego is very comfortable, isn't it, with boundaries and restrictions. And there's plenty of places you can go on Sunday morning and be given boundaries and restrictions and rules and regulations. I'm taking the lid off that. There are no rules and boundaries to how you can be born, to how you can be resurrected. And there's a part of you, you know, the shamans believe that there's a part of us that when there is trauma, when there is tragedy, that a part of our soul gets set aside. It's like when you go into shock physically in a car accident. When we have emotional, spiritual, and mental drama, a part of us is set aside on a shelf. And there has to be a soul retrieval to go back and get it, because we have to be conscious and active and proactive about going back to get the part of our soul that was forgotten. The fall from grace, the proverbial fall from grace that leads us through Lent, is about reclaiming the soul of your essence, the essence of your soul, the light of your being. But it has to be personal, and it cannot and will not be a second-hand historical report. It must be personal. We've gotten far too comfortable with accepted finite realities and faces that somebody else said, this is the color of that face. This is the color of that reality. This is the color of that story. Throughout history, heroes have changed the face of the planet. People, courageous heroes, sailed off the edge of a flat earth to prove that it was round. That took a lot of guts. Your awakening is going to take a lot of guts. There are astronomers, great, beautiful, wonderful, intelligent astronomers who gave up their life at the hands of the church because they were challenging the idea that everything in the universe and the cosmos revolved around the earth. Guess what? Because they did that and because we stand upon their shoulders, science has shown galaxies upon galaxies, billions of light years away. Now, where I sit today, I can't even imagine billions of galaxies outside. But guess what? Where you sit today and where I sit today, I can't even imagine how beautiful life can be. My life's good. My life is wonderful. Can it be better? Can it be billions of light years better? Oh, absolutely it can, and that's going to take guts. It's going to take courage, and it's going to be standing wherever you happen to be standing and say, there's a greater reality here. There's more than meets the eye in this moment. There's more than meets the eye in your behavior or in my behavior. There's more than meets the eye in our relationship. There's more than meets the history that my grandfather told me was true. You know, Jesus talks a lot about the sins of the Father. He's always being asked about the sins of the Father. The only sin that we teach in unity is a belief in the absence of God. And each one of us at some level has bought the greatest story ever sold, not told, that we are separate. And if your religion and your spirituality is causing any degree of separation, it's time to die to that old way of thinking. And to let Lent be a personal experience of crucifixion, of betrayal, a personal experience of going into the dark night of the soul, a personal experience of going into the cave and discovering a mystical, beautiful millions and billions of light years deeper than you've ever experienced. That's what this Lent is about. Don't waste the moment. Don't waste one moment of it when we serve communion on Wednesday, Monday, Thursday. Talk about being out of my comfort zone. I'm bringing in a channeler, a Jewish man who channels Yeshua. I am so far out of my comfort zone with that one. And something beautiful is going to happen. On Good Friday, Dale Allen Hoffman, who is an Aramaic Bible scholar, is going to really teach us what happened there from the original Aramaic language. All the way through Easter, make a commitment to being part of that. That was the commercial for the day. Doctors have made the reality of living to 100 very, very common. Somebody had the guts and the courage to challenge medicine. Scientists are proving quantum theories as we speak here today. They're proving everything we've talked about for 30 years. If we think that science is not necessary to our spirituality, we're deluding ourselves. We must follow the brave scientists who, by the way, when they talk about quantum reality, meet a lot of resistance. There are people in their field that say, you're whacked out, you're crazy, you're nuts. Don't talk about quantum reality, but they're proving spirituality. I want to follow them. I want to be one of them. There are spiritual giants, heroes who are revealing new realities, new possibilities, and insights. This Easter, I want you to be one of them. I want you to challenge the status quo, to challenge everything you've known about the face of Jesus, to challenge everything you know about the face of Easter, or the face of Buddha, or the face of your brother, or the face of your mother, or the face that you look in the mirror, to look beyond. Here's the line that I just loved about Michael's poem. Mirrors somehow become windows. In New Thought, we talk a whole lot about we're mirrors for each other. Your behavior, it's really crappy, but it must be a mirror for me about something I need to heal, something I need to look at. And that's a very good exercise to do. My reaction to the behavior out here, to the circumstances out here, must be trying to awaken something within me. That's a wonderful mirror, but it is all at a human level. There's a deeper level that must emerge. We must turn the mirrors into windows. Can it be that after I go through the exercise of noticing Ray's behavior and saying it's awakening something within me, to then look to the deeper place, into the soul, in through his eyes, beyond the behavior, beyond the veil, beyond the story of our relationship, to the very essence of this man, and thus awaken my own soul? That is the message of Easter. To look more deeply, to look more profoundly, to be totally much more awake to the person that happens to be in front of me, who then becomes a window. Can I look into the faceless Jesus, transcending black, white, blue, green, yellow, or buenos dias, and to look deeply into the soul and go, that's me. That's me. That's my experience. That's my reality. And I won't miss it by letting it be a second-hand history. It must be a first-hand experience. How beautiful would life be if we became much more than mirrors to each other, and we became windows into the divine essence of the oneness that we dream about, to the reality of unity that I thirst and hunger for, that I know you do as well, or you wouldn't be here. French philosopher Pierre de Chardin called for a new theology, one that incorporates modern scientific discoveries that imbue our accustomed ways of looking at things with a strain of universalism. It's time that we quit talking about oneness. This Lent, it's time we start being oneness. No matter your behavior, no matter the crucifixion of our relationship, no matter the darkness or the betrayal, I look more deeply into the soul of the Christ essence and thus discover my own Christ essence. Can I release the filters of my past experiences? Can Winifred release, as she beautifully did at Christmas, a black Jesus? She did it. Can I give up the white Jesus and have a faceless Jesus? Can I have a faceless experience such that a new chapter is about to emerge? I certainly hope so. We teach in Unity that life is consciousness. You are a product of your thoughts. You are a product of everything you've ever thought, everything you've ever felt. Jesus talks about putting new wine into old wineskins. And we come every week, and we have new ideas, new visions, new realities, and new dreams, new things that we play with. We try them on for size. And then we go back out of this room into a life, into an old wineskin, and guess what? It spoils the new wine. My challenge for each and every one of you is this Lenten season, for the next couple of weeks, to get drunk on the new wine. To get totally, completely, spiritually drunk on a new reality. Not one that a minister when you were 5 or a Sunday school teacher taught you. Not one that I teach you. Not one that anybody's ever taught you. But to get drunk on a new paradigm and a new reality that cannot be withheld. That will not be withheld. And look out, because you're not only changing your life, you're changing the face of the planet. As we build a bigger believing, we're pouring new wine into a possibility, and our heroic lives must expand with it. Don't let anything on your spiritual path be bound by somebody else's view or by putting somebody else's face on the experience. And here's what I know. The angels are knocking. There are angels, energies, divine appointments are knocking at the door saying, open the door. Here I am. And guess what? They have dark hair. They have blonde hair. Sometimes angels have red hair. Those are the dangerous ones. You know what? I've met angels who are bald who haven't got a hair on their head. There is a few of you sitting here today. The energy is knocking and taking us to a promised land, taking us to a higher reality, taking us to a deeper truth. Don't waste the moment. We're going to take these ideas into meditation, but I want you to know, as I repeat that quote, I bow down and I celebrate and worship the light and the magnificence that is you. And I behold in your eyes, each of your set of eyes. You are no longer going to be a mirror for me, but you will be a magnificent window into the energy, the vibration, and the frequency of Christ. You are the face of God.